Hey, I want to thank you for joining us here today. I am your host, Dean Hall, and today we're going to be talking about the Renegade Dealer Secrets. Now, we're going to be getting started here in just a few minutes. So, while we're waiting for just a handful more people to log into the presentation, let's do me a big favor. Let me know that you're able to hear me and see my screen by introducing yourself into the chat box and letting me know who you are and where you are from. Now, while we're waiting for everybody to log into the presentation, go ahead and take the next minute or so to go ahead and get out of that email that you might have up, or the YouTube videos you got going on in the background, or your Pandora or Facebook, because we don't want any distractions running in the background while we go through this information, because this information can literally transform the way you do business forever. In fact, if you got your cell phone right there next to the computer, go ahead and either turn that cell phone off or go ahead and mute it and go ahead and place that phone clear on the other side of the table, because I don't want you to miss a thing during this presentation. So we should be getting started here in just a few minutes. I'm just expecting a handful more people. We had well over the maximum number of registrations come in for this presentation, so we're expecting a full house. So if you're here right now, don't leave, because there's a good chance if you do, you may not be able to get in back into the presentation. In fact, our software is limited to 200 people. So if you hop off and everybody that's has registered logs in, then there's a good chance you may not be able to get back into our presentation today. So while we're waiting, like I said, we only got a few more minutes to get started. Let me go ahead and introduce a handful of you here, and just let you know that I appreciate you participating in our presentation today. So Mike, thanks for being here with us, Mike. Taylor, thanks for being here. Taylor's from Nashville. Chris is from Charlotte. Chris, thanks for being here. We got Billy from San Diego. Billy, it's nice to have you. We got Barry from Everett. Barry, it's nice to have you. We have, can't quite pronounce it. I think it's pronounced Charlene, but I'm not sure. Sorry if I butchered your name. Nice to have you here. Debbie from Connecticut. Debbie, it's nice to have you. It looks like we have Bill from Miami. Bill, it's nice to have you. Robert, nice to have you here. Looks like we got Robin from Phoenix. Cool. Well, so far we've got a lot of people logging into the presentation in the chat box. I really appreciate that. Again, we're going to get started here in probably about a minute. Again, my name is Dean Hall, and I am the owner of Renegade Media Company. Like I said, we got about 30 more seconds to log in or allow a few more people to get into the presentation. So if you're just now joining us, go ahead and let me know that you're able to hear me and see my screen by introducing yourself into the chat box and letting me know who you are and where you're from. All right, so let me just welcome just a handful more people in. Looks like we got Brad. Brad, thanks for coming today. We got, let's see, what's that? Mark. Okay, hey, Mark, thanks for coming down here. Cool. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started. If you're ready to kick this presentation off, go ahead and give me a big hell yeah in the chat box. Okay, awesome. Well, thanks for everybody for joining us, and we're going to go ahead and start the presentation right now. So today we're going to be talking to you on how to increase your sales by 50, 60, maybe up to 150 deals per month without spending a dime on outdated advertising. And if you're wondering who this is for, if you own a franchise store like a Chevy store or a Ford store or a Dodge store, then this is for you. It even works for the independent owners, those that own Hondas and Toyotas and Kia dealerships. This information that I'm going to share with you today could be implemented in your dealerships. Now, this also works if you're an independent dealer. So if you specialize in nothing but pre-owned cars, trucks, or SUVs, you can implement everything I'm going to share with you today into your dealership, and you're going to see more leads and more sales come through your dealership. And last but not least, if you own a buy here or pay here dealership, then this is absolutely for you. Now, let me ask you all a question. What would it look like if you could quickly and easily add another 50, 60, maybe 150 sales per month and increase your profits anywhere from $1,800 to $4,000 per deal, all without spending thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars on outdated or ineffective advertising? Wouldn't that be a game changer? Absolutely. All right, cool, thanks. All right, so within the next hour, I'm going to show you how to generate more leads than you've ever thought possible. And it's a lot easier than what most of you think. In fact, I'm going to show you how to maximize your return on investment on every lead, regardless of where you're getting your calls or leads from. And I'm going to share with you how to tap into some third-party tools such as DataLogic and Polk Automotive to attract only the hottest buyers in your market. And I'm going to share with you how to find inventory that just can't be bought anywhere, not at the auction or anywhere. I'm going to show you where to tap into people who are currently driving the exact piece of inventory that you need to have at your showroom and get that person to respond to possibly an ad or a phone call. And I'm going to show you some proprietary message system that will allow you to never miss an opportunity again. And throughout this presentation, I'm going to be sharing with you some stealth software so you can ethically spy on your competition and see exactly where they're getting the bulk of their leads and generating their sales from. So if you're wondering what makes me different, first of all, there's nothing for sale during this presentation. So if you were expecting to have this really long out blown sales pitch at the end of this presentation, you can go ahead and forget about that, because what I'm here to do for you today is share some really powerful information that, if you implement, will significantly increase the number of leads and sales that you generate each and every month. And if you stick to the very end of this presentation, I'm going to give you an opportunity to download a free visibility report for your dealership. Now, I guarantee that if you implement the changes or the recommendations that are based on this report alone, you're going to virtually guarantee to increase your leads and sales by 10 to as much as 30% in the next 60 to 90 days, and just by making this change to your dealership. Now, quick question. Does it ever feel like you're throwing your money away, or at least half of your money away, with ineffective advertising getting little or zero results? If that's you, go ahead and give me a big 1 in the chat box. Looks like I got a bunch of you. Okay, cool. All right. How many here are overwhelmed by the technology that's involved with staying connected with your prospects and feel it's actually wasting your time instead of making you money? If that's you, go ahead and give me a 4 in the chat box. Awesome. All right. So, next question. How many here are constantly struggling with that price objection and probably losing deals to your competitors? If that's you, give me a 7 in the chat box. All right, looks like I could get a couple of dealing with that issue. Cool. All right, how many here are tired of wasting your time talking to people who are not serious about buying your products or services? If that's you, go ahead and give me a 5 in the chat box. All right, Mike, I'm hearing you. We're going to get to that here next. Well, the awesome news is, if that feels like you, none of those are your real problems. The real problem is that you haven't yet implemented the 5 essential components to what I call the Renegade marketing system, which I'm going to explain here in just a few minutes. So the basics of these 5 components is that they will unlock doors to more sales, having customers who are less price resistant, implementing automation so that we can leverage your time and your money to generate more leads even while you sleep, and having dependable, consistent flow of leads and customers because you have a system that ensures that you never miss an opportunity again. Now, what you need to know is that these 5 components is all you'll need to add another 50, 60, maybe 100 deals per month or even more. Now, if you're wondering who I am and why you should be listening to me, as I mentioned earlier, my name is Dean Ha. I am a former Marine who spent over a decade learning the tactics and logistics of warfare. Now, I learned how to recon my enemy or my competitor and use the landscape of the environment to completely eliminate them and completely dominate the market or the landscape. Now, I took those skills and those mindsets and implemented them into the car business. And in the last 10 years of my life, I spent working my way up through a handful of dealerships. I spent time as a salesperson where I averaged 10 to 20, 10 to 15, 20 cars per month, depending on the time of the year it was. And I made good money. I was well into the six figures selling cars. I was also a sales manager at a handful of dealerships, and my average profit per vehicle was over $3,800 a copy. And my last position as in a dealership was a finance manager, where my back end profit was averaging over $2,100 a copy. Now, I've taken all those skills, all that experience, and I turned it into a local marketing business. Now I work directly with local dealerships all across the country, implementing a proven marketing system to generate industry-leading leads and sales for dealerships all across the country. Now, before we get started explaining the 5 components in the Renegade marketing system, I have to share with you the 2 most common mistakes that nearly all dealers make. If you've done any advertising or marketing for your dealership, I can virtually guarantee that you've been making at least one of the following 2 common mistakes. And it doesn't matter if you've been in business for 5, 10, 20, even 30 years or more, and been getting what most people consider pretty good results. Because I'm here to tell you that these 2 common mistakes have cost you a lot of money and lost opportunity and lost business. So to prove this, I want you to get some of your marketing material out right now. It might be a radio script, your latest TV ad, maybe the newspaper insert that you just sent out last week, even your website. Doesn't matter what it is, go ahead and get access to it right now. Then evaluate it for yourself as I describe these 2 mistakes. So, mistake number 1 is using one of the 3 forbidden phrases. You're probably wondering, what are the forbidden phrases? Well, they are phrases that use platitudes. And in the marketing, platitudes are essentially the kiss of death. So let me explain to you what the definition of a platitude as it pertains to marketing. Platitudes are words or phrases that are dull, obvious, or predictable and lack the power to create interest because they are overused and unoriginal, but are nevertheless still commonly used as though they were unique or distinctive. So let me give you an example of a platitude. These are words or phrases like highest quality, best service, largest selection, gets the job done right the first time, 30 years of experience, been in business since 1776 BC, honest, hardworking, you tried the rest, now you've tried the best, number 1, your dealer of choice, and state of the art. Now, does any of this sound familiar? Of course it does, because you've been hearing junk like this for years. Now, do you use any of this in your marketing? Now, I bet you do. Now, I don't even know you, but if I were a betting man, which I'm not, I'd bet the farm on the fact that your advertising and marketing is loaded with platitudes just like these right now. Take a look for yourself. Now, here's the deal. These platitudes that are filling up your marketing and advertising are killing your profits and destroying your market opportunities. You see, platitudes don't distinguish or separate you within the marketplace. They don't quantify or specify anything. See, the problem with platitudes is that they're not believable, they're usually not provable, and they cause your prospects to minimize, discount, disbelieve, or worse yet, ignore you altogether. Ultimately, your target market ends up believing that you and your business are just like everybody else in your industry. This is why your target market always ends up grinding you on price, regardless on how great your products are or how much better you think than you are than your competitors. See, none of that matters. because if you just introduce yourself to the marketplace as one more scoop of vanilla in a whole sea of vanilla. Now, I have a few platitude evaluations so that way we can break this down even further for you. I want you to take you through 3 platitude evaluations. Now, evaluation number 1 is called, well, I would hope so. Now, seriously, that's the name of the evaluation. So here's the deal. Look at the statements and phrases in your advertising and ask yourself this question. Could or would my prospects immediately respond to these statements by saying, well, I would hope so? So let me give you an example for evaluation number 1. So here's an ad that I found for Johnson Toyota. Their headline says, try it before you buy it. Well, I would hope so. I mean, come on. We're all in the car business here, and most of us know that no one will probably spend 10 grand on a vehicle without at least test driving it first. How about this ad? Best deal days. Well, I would hope so. Now, we would all agree that most people these days are pretty educated and expect to get a fair deal. In fact, there's software and websites all over the place to verify the price of your vehicle to see if they're getting a fair deal. I mean, it's very rare that you can take advantage of buyers these days, but when you're throwing this in their face and saying, hey, I'm going to give you the best deal today, people rarely believe it. Now, evaluation number 2 is who else can say that? Now, pay close attention to this one because the question is not who else can do what you do, but who else can say what you can say. Now, the answer is usually anyone and everyone. So let me give you an example for evaluation number 2. Here is Granger Nissan, who says they have the home of the lifetime warranty. Well, who else can say that? Now, this dealership might actually offer a lifetime warranty, but do you actually believe it just because they said it? Now, who else can say that? Can't the dealer on the very next listing in Google where I got this ad, who says quality Hondas at affordable prices, can they also say they offer a lifetime warranty? Of course they can. I mean, read a few lines in your promotional material and ask yourself this. Who else can say that? If one of your competitors can say it, then you fail this evaluation. Now here's evaluation number 3. It's called the cross-out write-in test. For this evaluation, I want you to go ahead and cross out the name of your company on your advertisement or your website, then write in the name of your biggest competitor. Cross out, write in. Get it? Now tell me, is the ad or your website still valid? If so, you just failed the test. Another way to illustrate this is to do it in reverse. Cross out your competitor's name and replace it with your company's name. Now tell me this, is the ad or website still valid? I mean, really. Now, I don't care if you absolutely know that you have higher quality inventory than your competitor, because your competitor can still say that they have higher quality than you, even if it's not true. See, I can give you literally hundreds of examples for insurance companies who can give fast, easy quotes, or dentists who offer complete dental care, or landscape contractors who cut to perfection. The bottom line is that none of these ads pass the cross-out write-in test or the other platitude evaluations. Now, the other common marketing mistake is doing what we call fragmented marketing. Now, this is the absolute wrong approach to marketing, yet is the most common approach in business today. Everybody's doing it, including you and your competitors. Now, the good news, or the bad news if you're slow, is that the first one to fix this problem basically wins. Seriously. Now, let me explain what fragmented marketing is, which is the wrong way to do it, in contrast to doing what we call systemized marketing, which is the right way to do it. Fragmented marketing means that there's no cohesive message or comprehensive system handling your marketing for you. Instead, when you buy marketing and advertising, it's typically developed by the company who created the ad, right? Now think back to the last advertisement or marketing piece that you created for your company. What was it? Was it a brochure, a website, a printed ad, maybe a radio spot? Now, ask yourself, who created the final product for you? They did, didn't they? The radio station created your radio spot, the magazine company created your magazine ad, the design company created your printed materials, And the website design company created your website, whereas the video production company developed your video content, right? Now, think about how fragmented that makes your marketing efforts. All those different companies have different ideas about what your marketing message should be based on their limited experience. Inevitably, they all use platitudes, then they try to throw in their own dose of creativity. Now, think about how wrong this is. You need to develop and own your message. You shouldn't give it to others, and you shouldn't leave it to multiple teams of others who really don't have your best interest in mind, nor do they care about your position in the marketplace. Now, on the other hand, a system dictates the content of the advertising and also dictates the sequence that your prospects go through and message that your prospects hear and see as they ultimately lead to your front door. A systemized marketing system would actually facilitate the decision-making process. In other words, it would define what criteria your prospects should look for within a company, product, or service. In doing so, it would lead them to buy from you and not your competitor. Now that we've identified some of the problems with existing advertising and marketing, let's talk about some solutions. I want to show you exactly how to market your vehicles. And believe it or not, the process of creating an effective marketing system is actually scientific. Now, I know you've been taught to believe that marketing is an art and that you need a team of creative people to invent funny, quirky, entertaining, or other type of creative content to use in your advertising or marketing. Now, there's actually a scientific method for creating comprehensive marketing systems, and we call it the strategic messaging formula. And we use it exclusively at Renegade Media to generate industry-leading results for all of our customers, regardless of their industry. Ultimately, the goal of our strategic messaging formula is to cause your prospects and customers to draw this important conclusion: I have to be completely insane to work with anyone else but you, regardless of the price. Now, don't you want your customers and prospects thinking that way? Of course you do. Now, let me show you how this works. Now, the strategic marketing formula has, or SMF for short, has 5 components. Let me introduce them to you really quick. The first component is capture. This means that you must first capture your target market's attention. And I know it's pretty obvious, but it's not as easy to pull off as most people think. And furthermore, it's done more wrong than done right. You'll know more and why here in a minute. But the second component is connect. This means once you've captured your prospect's attention, you must connect with them on an emotional level, and you have to hold on their attention by connecting with them through hot buttons that is important and relevant to them. You have to make them feel that important and relevant information is going to be delivered to them that will help them make the best decision possible. In short, you're helping them to facilitate the decision-making process. The third component is called inform. Now you've connected with your prospects on an emotional level, you must give them enough quality information to make them feel like they can make an informed decision and how they can solve their problem or gain immediate benefits. Again, you do this by giving your prospect enough quality information to address their emotional needs. Now remember, the component is called inform. So you're informing them. This step is also critical in the terms of the sale so that it is formed on an emotional level instead of a logical one. The fourth component is to incentivize. In this step, you have to give your prospect an incentive to take the next step in the buying process. This is often by giving your prospect an offer to get a free marketing tool. This could be a special report, a book, a video, a series of videos, even an audio program, or anything like that. However, you don't always have to give away a marketing tool. You can also give away a coupon or exclusive discount or a special opportunity at a low risk or high value. Whatever it is, just remember that you're incentivizing your prospect simply to take them into the next step in the buying process. The fifth and final component is to automate. This simply means that now that your prospects are connected with you in a marketing system, you must create content to automatically follow up the process. Now, companies and individuals are notoriously bad about following up. In fact, with most auto dealerships, the salespeople only follow up maybe 2 to 3 times, maybe 5 times at best. Now, fortunately, there's some software available today to assist in this process. And statistically speaking, the average person needs to be touched 8 to 10 times before they're able to make a buying decision. See, what happens is the prospect will either call you or email you on a specific type of vehicle, and your salesperson might follow up with them once, twice, maybe 3 times, and then the prospect is already touched base with other dealerships who are also doing the same thing on a similar vehicle. So at that 10th or 12th time that they've been touched or follow up with, that's where they're making that buying decision. And unfortunately, in most cases, that buying decision is not coming from you or your dealership. All right. So even with software, it's not going to give you the best bang for your buck if you don't properly craft your message and your follow-up sequence. Now, remember a few years ago that most businesses had to rely on advertising the phone book just to be found. And today, if you don't show up on the first page of Google, you might as well don't exist. Now, regardless of where you advertise, you want to drive as many people to your website as possible, because studies have shown that the more people that you get to your website, the higher number of deals you're going to make each and every month. Now, also with your website, you have the most control over what happens next to your prospects and customers. See, with today, there's technology out there where you can place tracking codes or pixels on your website, and you can communicate based on what actions your customers or prospects have taken, and send them communication based on if they did an action or they did not take an action. Now, this is called behavioral marketing. So let me ask you, where are you advertising right now? How many people here are advertising on TV or radio or in the newspaper? If that is you, go ahead and give me a big 5 in the chat box. Okay, cool. All right, it looks like I got a couple of you. Now, who here is still advertising in the phone book? If that's you, go ahead and give me an 8 in the chat box. Now, we all can agree that the phone book is dying, but it's not quite dead yet. So regardless of where you're advertising offline, you want to make sure that you put some tracking on your advertising. So what that means is that if you have a dealership, such as Lone Star Ford, you want to make sure that you have a custom URL for each type of advertising. So you might want to use different URL addresses like .net or .co and put it on the specific form of advertising. So like for this example, TV is .net, radio is .co, the newspaper is .info, the magazine is .biz, and the yellow pages is .org. And each one of these examples all have a different phone number. So you want to have a tracking phone number listed for each phone. Now, one thing that you need to kind of pay attention to, the one for the phone book should be the same as what you're using for your what's called your local business directories and local Google like business listings, because that is part of the local directories that help make sure that your business ranks at the top of the search engine. So whatever the number you choose for the phone book, you want to make sure that is also the same phone number that you use on the other directories and local business listings. Now, let's just say, for example, I'm the owner of Lone Star Ford, and I want to start selling more cars. So we'll just say, for example, this dealership right now is selling 200 cars a month, and I'm looking to get to 300 cars a month. So I want to add another 100 cars per month. So I start advertising on Auto Trader or Car Gurus or Cars.com, Cars for Sale, maybe even Craigslist. And so each one of these outlets provide a slightly different services, but each of these companies have basically one goal in mind, and that is to keep everybody that's on their website on their website. So if you didn't know, that's how Auto Trader or Cars.com or Car Gurus get paid. It's based on impressions. So the more people they have looking at your ad, that's how the more money they're able to charge you. Now, some of these websites now charge based on how much inventory you have. So One thing I want you to think about, if you are a smaller dealership and you're currently advertising on these sources, do you really think that they're going to pay as much attention to you as the dealership down the street, which has got maybe double or triple the budget? Of course not. These companies are always going to give more attention to the dealerships who spend more money. So if you're one of those smaller or medium-sized dealerships trying to compete with the bigger dealerships in your same market, it might be tough to get your inventory to show on this website. Now, let's just say, for example, you have an individual who finds a vehicle on one of these websites. Now, most dealerships only follow with the prospects who call on a specific vehicle. Again, that's where that follow-up that we talked about earlier comes from. They might call or email that prospect 2 or 3 times before they kind of give up on that prospect. Then they go on to the next. But imagine you were able to market the individuals based on the type of vehicle they looked at these industry-specific sites, such as Cars.com, AutoTrader, or CarGurus, and then place an ad of a similar vehicle where only your vehicle was visible. Now, don't you think you would sell more cars doing that? Of course you would. Now, let me show you how this works. Let's say that I'm a prospect and I am looking at this 2017 Ford Raptor. I'm currently living in Cosby, Texas, or near Cosby, Texas, and I'm looking at this Ford Raptor here. Now, like I mentioned here, the Lone Star Ford is right down the road of these guys, but for whatever reason, as a prospect, I didn't make it all the way down to their ad, so I never even had a chance to look at their ad or their website. But that doesn't matter. The reason why, if you're looking at my screen right now, you might see in my mouse, you see this ad right here? Well, that ad is put there by Google. Now, the cool thing about websites like Cars.com or AutoTrader or CarGurus, they all have what's called display advertising built into their website, so they can get paid from Google. Now, we can put this ad right here through Google for a fraction of what it would cost to put this vehicle here on the actual website. So that's a huge advantage, especially for us smaller dealerships. Now, you have to be using Google AdWords to make this happen, but I'm going to explain the benefits of that here in just a few minutes. Now, let's go back to our scenario. I am a customer looking at this particular Ford Raptor. Now, I didn't make it all the way down to the Lone Star Ford, so I hop off or I make a few phone calls and then I go about my day. Now, the cool thing is if I am Lone Star Ford, I can start advertising to that particular person because there's tools within Facebook that allows me to target specifically people who are in the market or near the market in making a purchase. So for this example, I'm targeting people who are near market who have recently looked at a pickup truck. So a near market means is that I went to Cars.com or AutoTrader or CarGurus. I looked at a vehicle, but I didn't go anywhere else. So I didn't click on the ad, and I didn't go to either the manufacturer or the dealership's website. So that's what that means is in near market. Now the next item here is in market. So because I've clicked over to a particular type of vehicle, I know the Facebook and Google and all these other high-tech websites, they know exactly what type of vehicle I clicked on. So this is how I'm able to target specific vehicles with this form of advertising. And then I had the ability to target individuals who are what's called max and target. So let's say that I clicked on the ad on Cars.com. So let's go back here. I clicked on this ad, took me to their website of Friendly Ford, or I went to FordThemselves.com, and let's say I filled out a form or what have you. I spent any time on that website. Well, this is how that Google and Facebook know that I've taken that next step. So I'm ready to buy. So that's what maxing market means. So once we have that data, now we're able to put an ad of a similar vehicle. So here is my client, and this is just an example of their ad following them around of a blue Ford Raptor. So imagine how powerful this would be if you had something like this with your dealership. Now, not everybody's using Google and Facebook, but if you're not, you should be. So imagine you're able to now market to your prospects based on their behavior. So let's say that I'm a customer and I called on your particular vehicle. All right, so I clicked on the ad, I went to your website, now I'm calling you on your vehicle. Now, for whatever reason, I didn't take the next step of setting the appointment. Imagine if you had a marketing system that was able to capture my information, my contact information, my name, my email address, my phone number, even my physical address, and start marketing to them based on if I took an action or I did not take an action. So for example, I have a system in place that knows if you set an appointment or you didn't set an appointment. And based on that action will determine what message you get next. Now, let's say that you made an offer or I made an offer on a particular vehicle. Well, we move that customer to a particular campaign. So they made an offer campaign. So what we could do next is that if they haven't bought the vehicle yet, we can offer them an opportunity to look at other vehicles or make them a different offer. And if they bought a vehicle, if I bought a vehicle or if your customer bought a vehicle, now they are a customer. And again, you talk to your customers differently based on the stages they have gone through your sales cycle. So now if you have a franchise dealership where you have a service department or a parts department, now you have this system that starts marketing to your prospects who just bought to schedule service appointments. And this is all done automatically, so that way you don't have to rely on your personnel to do this for you. Now, a lot of you dealerships here have what's called a CRM. And a lot of these CRMs have this type of technology built in, but most of it's not automated. You actually have to go in there and physically enter your customers into whatever sequence you're going to get in and then send it out. Now, with my system, this is all done on an automated basis based on what your customer has done next or what they should be doing next. All right. So this is where the automated follow-up sequence comes into play. We could either schedule an appointment for a test drive, or we can schedule an appointment for a service department, or we can send out a secondary offer, then schedule an appointment. We could even thank the customer for their purchase and have the system automatically ask for reviews and referrals. And on top of that, the system stays connected with your prospects and customers throughout their life cycle. So imagine how powerful that would be if you had something like that for your business. I mean, it's a complete game changer. Don't you agree? Mike's saying yes. Everybody's saying me. All right, cool. All right, everybody's tracking. Now, who here is not using Google, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube in their advertising? If you're not, you're basically throwing your money away. Because right now you're spending all this money to get people to your website. Let's just face it, your website's not really designed to create conversions. That means get people to pick up the phone and actually call you. So what happens is that about 97% of your traffic that you generate, regardless of where you're advertising, goes to your website and they leave and they never come back. So the 3% that do pick up the phone, that's where you're making all your sales right now from. It's the 3% that pick up the phone. Now imagine you have a system in place that you can capture 30, 40, maybe 50% of the people who have left your website and bring them back to your website and make them a second offer. Do you think you'd sell more cars? Absolutely. Now, here are some of the results of some of our clients who have implemented this exact strategy. Now, as you can see here, many of our clients have been able to double, triple, even quadruple the amount of leads and sales they generate each and every month. And this is across the board. Doesn't matter where you're located at and where you're selling your vehicles. If you're selling your vehicles only in your state or across the country, this works for you. And we've seen similar results regardless of how large or small your dealership is. This, for example, is a small independent dealership who was basically selling only 20 cars per month. We implemented this strategy, and within the first 6 months of working with us, we doubled their traffic to the website and doubled the amount of phone calls they were generating each and every month. And this particular was a dealership that's selling between 30 to 40 cars per month. And as you can see, same scenario, took them from basically zero traffic to their dealership, and where they had to rely on all kinds of third-party resources to generating literally thousands of visitors to their website and literally hundreds of calls per month. And each scenario is almost the same response. We're able to take any dealership anywhere in the country and significantly increase their organic traffic by optimizing on how well they show up online. So we get into that a little bit later in the presentation, but as you can see, the results are the same. We increase the traffic to their website, and in most cases we're able to increase leads and sales by 2, maybe as much as 300 calls per month. Now, you have a choice to make. Now, here is how I can help you. I've set aside some time in my week to personally speak with you on how we can apply these strategies to your business, and this strategy session is absolutely free. Now, if you're wondering why I would do this, it's because I want to help you achieve your goals. So you have to be a 100% committed to the success of your dealership and hitting your revenue goals no matter what, by following the system that I've outlined for you today. And plus, you must provide good quality cars, trucks, and SUVs. If you don't, then this is probably not for you. In fact, I don't even want to work with you. Now, during our call, if you decide to schedule a strategy session, I'm going to help dial in your business. I'm going to help you set out some really aggressive goals, and I'm going to share with you how to get absolute clarity and how to reach those goals fast. And I'm even going to provide an exact strategy built specifically for your dealership and how to make it happen. Now, if you want us to help you and we think it's a good fit, we may invite you to become one of our clients. So, if we work together, I'm going to walk you through my proven system that is designed to get you an automated lead flow and an additional $50,000 a month in revenue and beyond. We expect you to start getting new customers and making sales within the next 5 to 6 days. Now, what you need to do next is click the link below this button. There should be a button that pops up underneath this video, which you need to click. Now, we all know that sometimes technology breaks, and if that button has not showed up for whatever reason, all you need to do now is go to dealerrenegade.com/apply. Now, let me ask you, what's one client worth to you? Is it $1,000, $5,000, maybe $10,000 or more? How about 20, 30, maybe 50 new customers? What are they worth to you? Just go to dealerrenegade.com/apply. Now remember, you got 2 choices here. You can either do nothing, which requires 0 risk and 0 faith, and continue to experience the same results that you've always had with little or 0 change. The second option is to invest a little bit of time to see what's possible in your business and be willing to change to create the lifestyle in the business that you've always wanted. All you need to do is go to, let me fix that. dealerrenegade.com /apply. Just imagine if you had these results in your business. Of course, you'd be some happy campers. Now, what are some questions that some of you might have? All right, so Mike is asking, what is the typical budget that most dealerships have? Well, it really depends on the size of dealership that you have and what your capacity is. So if you're at a dealership that's currently selling 50, 60 cars, and you have the capacity to sell 70 or 80, now the average budget for a dealership like that could be anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 a month. Bob is asking, do you have to advertise on Google and Facebook? You don't have to advertise on Google and Facebook, but I highly recommend it. In fact, you're going to get way better results if you do. So what's some of the other tools that you use to capture information? Well, for me and my clients, we use some proprietary software to capture information from our prospects. So like when a phone call comes in, we can capture that name, email address, phone number, and actual physical mailing address, and then we can use that information to upload it to the other tools and advertising platforms such as Facebook and advertise directly to that individual with specific offers. So it looks like we got about time for about 2 more questions, and then we're going to have to hop off this call. So next question is that how much does this cost? Well, actually, if we do this right, it doesn't cost you anything because we should be making a return on investment. You make an investment, you get a return on investment, then it really doesn't cost anything. And last but not least, the last question is from Jerry. Jerry, does this work for buy here, pay here? Absolutely, Jerry. I know that you're kind of a different customer, but if your clientele is people with bad or no credit, well, the cool thing is that we can advertise specifically to them on places like Google, YouTube, even Facebook, based on their exact demographics. So I hope that answers your question. So remember, what you need to do next is go to dealerrenegade.com/apply.